Missy, we're ready. Call the meeting to order. Ask you to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we get into the meat of the meeting tonight, we have an oath of office to perform tonight for our new Winston police officer, Louis Kateria. Close?
Lucas. It's a close.
So I guess we're going to do this officially. Right here.
I don't know where you're.
Yeah. Maybe you should do so they can see your back.
You raise your.
Please repeat after me.
I, Lucas Kateria,
Solemnly
swear
I will support the Constitution of the State of Minnesota. Discharge the duties of officer
and to discharge
of Winston, Minnesota,
the city of Winsted, Minnesota,
to the best
of my judgment.
Yes. Well, you yes.
Sign it.
Yep.
You guys can leave if you want. This would be the good time. Yes. Otherwise, you're kind of committed. No,
You're all in.
you can leave whenever.
Yeah, get to work, Lucas. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
Welcome.
we'll move on. Tonight's consent agenda consists of the following items. Item A, approve the minutes of the following City Council special work meeting, April 24th, City Council work session, May 2nd, City Council regular meeting, May 2nd. Item B, adopt resolution R-23-22 to accept a contribution from gambling proceeds from the Winston Volunteer Fire Department Relief Association in the amount of $2,500 to be dedicated to the City of Winston Park Fund. Item C, approve an application to conduct excluded bingo submitted by the Buffalo Creek BMX Association on October 15, 2023 at the Blue Note Ballroom. Contingent upon a Buffalo Creek BMX Association providing all necessary documentation to the State of Minnesota Gambling Control Board. Item D, appoint Mr. Lucas Kateria to the position of full-time police officer within the City of Winston Police Department at grade 7, step 2 of the 2023 compensation plan. Item E, appoint Mr. Stephen Browowski to the position of volunteer firefighter with the Winston Volunteer Fire Department contingent upon passing a criminal background check, pre-employment physical, and a drug and alcohol test. Item F, appoint Mr. Christopher Kraus to the position of volunteer firefighter with the Winston Volunteer Fire Department contingent upon passing a criminal background check, pre-employment physical, and a drug and alcohol test. Item G, approve Mr. Christopher Barr to the position of auxiliary volunteer firefighter with the Winston Volunteer Fire Department contingent upon passing a criminal background check, pre-employment physical, and a drug and alcohol test. Item H, appoint Mr. Nicholas Fosdick to the position of auxiliary volunteer firefighter with the Winston Volunteer Fire Department contingent upon passing a criminal background check, pre-employment physical, and a drug and alcohol test. Item I, adopt the amended City of Winston purchasing policy as presented. Item J, authorize updated signature cards account agreements for the City of Winston accounts at the following financial institution and revoke access and authority for Mr. Adam Burkholz, interim city administrator, effective July 6, 2023. It's the 4M account, International City County Management Association, Security Bank and Trust Company, and Northland Securities. Item K, authorize Mr. Neil Slagle, City Administrator, access and authority to the City of Winston accounts at the following financial institutions effective July 6. ORM Fund, International City and County Management Association, Security Bank and Trust Company, and Northland Securities. And item L, approve the claims list for July 5th, 2023. That's the consent agenda. Looking for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Under old business, Resolution R 23-21, conditional use permit, 206 Linden Avenue East. I'll turn it over to Neil.
So we talked a little bit about this last meeting, and we're looking to ask, you guys had asked for the property owner to come today. And Mr. Garner? Yep, come on up, please. And council has a few questions for you.
Sure.
You want me to start? Or?
Need to state your name and address in the community.
John Garner, 206 Linden Avenue East, Winsted.
So it's our understanding you want to put an addition on your outbuilding, is that correct?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. And we were under the impression at the last meeting that the entire building was going to be recited so that it would be identical. But in our notes for this meeting, somewhere it was indicated that that's not going to be done. Is that?
I wasn't aware of that requirement until later. I'm fine doing that. I wasn't aware that that was something that was necessary.
Okay.
I'm happy to, well, I mean, I'd rather not have to do it all, but I understand why the city wants to do that, and I would be okay with doing that.
What are your intentions with the building?
Just going to live in it. We're going to restore it. It's going to be our home.
I'm not talking about the house. I'm talking about the
Well, I would eventually park an RV in it. The challenge I have right now is that the existing facility is not tall enough doors to get one in. I'm also going to be using it to stage all of the beams and lumber and windows and stuff that come in for the house, since a lot of that stuff is manufactured and it can't be left outside. So it'll be double duty as a place to, stage the rest of the.
You have any plans on living in that building?
And that, no, I wouldn't. No. Just the house when it's done.
What's your timeline for the whole project?
I figure it's going to take another 3 or 4 years to get it done. There's a lot of things that we have to do. We're trying to keep it as original looking as we can, rounded windows, and it's just there's a lot of things that we have to do consecutively. I have to do one after another. It's just going to take some time to get it done.
But it's your intent to fully restore the property and at some point live in it?
Yeah. It's been our intent since we bought it.
How long ago was that?
About 5 years ago. Okay. We've done work on it every year. COVID kind of threw a ringer in there. We didn't travel as much, and stuff. So we haven't the last couple of years done as much as normal, but we've done actually a lot of work to it already.
But your legal residence right now is not Winsted, is that correct?
No, I actually moved to Florida, so we're here in the summer.
Oh, okay.
Everything's remote work now, so I can kind of work from wherever.
Okay.
But I'm planning on spending the summers up here. Every summer. So, yeah.
So mine, I don't know, 2 weeks ago when we discussed this, my initial thought is not to allow it just because the property is kind of in disrepair overall. And there's no guarantee that that'll improve going forward other than adding on to this shed. And so that's a concern.
The house has been in the condition that as it is for a number of years. I bought it about 5 years ago. The prior people that owned it never really did anything to it. They so the person that owned it was doing a loan, he held the deed and then they were paying him, so he took it back from a number of people that I think got overwhelmed by the scale of the job. Just because it's an old structure, everything on the inside, it has needed a lot of work to get to where it will meet the requirements and code. And so it's just taken a while. This year we're going to work on the windows, and so when I say the windows, we're trying to keep all the original rounded top windows. And I'm going to finish the framing in and measurement with the window person, and I'm going to order one. And the lead time on the windows is, 12 to 14 weeks, which means, assuming it works, I'm not going to get the rest of the windows until, next year. I won't be able to put them in until then, but at least we'll be making that progress. I was also going to try to do the big picture window on the front, because it's not rounded, it's just a regular window, and get that replaced. But yeah, it's just going to take some time to get it done. I mean, that's been my goal the entire time, is to restore the property.
Is the house registered as a historical? No. Okay, so you're just trying to keep it true to that without.
Yeah.
Not because
It's
you
just a
have
neat
to,
looking
but
building.
because you want to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, we fell in love with the building and decided we were going to take on the challenge. I got to say, a couple times we've questioned whether or not that was a good idea, because it does need a lot of work. But we're looking forward to getting it done. I mean, I just looked at the old City Hall. It's got the rounded windows on the top too, and those look like original wooden ones. And we're trying to do it with more modern material, vinyl and clad wood and thick, energy efficient glass. And it's just been a real challenge to find anybody that will do that sort of work and that can produce what we need. Some of the beams are going to be custom. We're doing the foundation's done now, but the second story is going to require some complex micro lambs and supports and stuff like that. Before, it was just stringers going across. I mean, not spanning 18, 19 feet and buried with the ends into the brick, which of course isn't the way you do things now.
So in terms of the warehouse, the timing on that is what?
I won't be able to finish it this year. I don't have somebody lined up to do the actual, so I've got the foundation lined up, but I was going to try to have it finished, next year.
Okay.
Just there's not enough time to do it this year. I can't get the people lined up to do the work fast enough. But I would get the concrete apron on the front of the garage and then the foundation done and all that stuff. And I have some of that work lined up to get somebody to do that and get it done this year.
I guess I have a question for staff, and that is, so if we approve this resolution tonight, which is for the warehouse work, but let's say 3 years from now, nothing's done, do we have recourse to withdraw the resolution?
Nothing's done to
The warehouse?
warehouse piece. I honestly don't know the answer to that, Tom.
Okay. I don't know, do you, Raquel?
I don't, I'd have to look. I know there's a 1-year time frame from past, but I haven't been I don't know. I'm sorry, I can't speak to it right now.
Yeah, I guess I just don't want to get into a situation where we've been in the past where we allow somebody to do something and it never gets done.
He's going to need a building permit, correct? To build what he wants, right?
I would think, yeah.
And that building permit comes with a 1-year time frame to get it complete?
Right, that's a 6-month time frame.
6-month time frame.
When I talked to the building code place, they said that they could
There
do a
can be
year.
extensions,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so even given a year, he would have 1 year to, once he,
But he would just need to apply for another building permit if he went beyond the year. That doesn't address Tom's concern, I believe.
Yeah.
but if he went for a building permit, did a year, didn't do anything, comes back for another building permit,
We could deny it.
we could deny it.
Well, typically, building permits don't come in front of us, do they?
No, they don't.
Yeah, so,
Well, they come in front of the
Coming from in
administrator.
front of Neil, and
So this would be on his radar.
The conditional use permit resolution on item number 9, page 3. I don't know if you have your packet in front of you. Talks about expiration. Can't read it quickly. It talks about a 1-year time frame in there also. So that, I'm assuming without reading it, Neil's reading through now, but I'm assuming if the project isn't complete within a year, then it could be,
then he'd have to come back and ask for another conditional use permit.
For what it's worth, I intend to have it done in that amount of time. The only reason I wouldn't is if I just can't line up the work or can't get something out there. And I mean, if that were the case, it would be close enough that it would be, months away. So,
So it does say within 1 year that you've commenced at least.
yeah.
So if it gets issued today, you would have to start within the year.
From when the permit's issued, or
Well, the conditional use permit, yes.
Any other questions?
Yeah, we have nothing against you.
I get it. I understand.
We're just, we don't want to get stuck with something.
Yeah, I did have a question, and this is, I know that the statement that I was told is that there's no metal siding allowed. Is that, there's lots of metal, I wasn't necessarily going to do it, but there is metal siding that looks like normal siding.
Mhm.
Is that not allowed either?
I don't know,
That'd be a question for the,
planning
Planning
commission.
Commission.
Yeah. I didn't know. I was.
Well, what the ordinance, the conditional use permit we're going to vote on tonight is with the understanding that what kind of siding goes on. What kind
I
of,
had vinyl listed as what I was going to do on the new section, so. it would
then
be
that's
vinyl.
what the conditional use permit would be.
Okay.
and it was our understanding that the entire building would match.
Which I will do. Yeah, I mean, I didn't, when I filed everything, I didn't know that. That's not the way I filled out the forms, but I am okay with that,
That came up at the Planning Commission meeting.
I wasn't here, yeah.
Somebody asked that question, and then they added it there, so you wouldn't have known about that until we contacted you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Looking for a motion then?
I'd make a motion to adopt Resolution R-23-21, approving a conditional use permit to allow for a detached accessory building to exceed 1,000 square feet in size in the R-1A single-family resident district, provided the siding matches on the entire building.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
A motion on second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, get to work.
Thank you.
Under new business, wetland restoration project.
Mr. Mayor, do we need to close the public hearing?
Pardon me?
Do we need to close the
Extended
public
from the
hearing?
last
It wasn't,
time.
it was old,
Oh, okay.
under old business.
Well, never mind.
Never mind you. Okay, we'll move on to the wetland restoration project award recommendation letter. Neil, you want to start us off?
Sure. Well, we had received 3 different bids from Litzau Excavating, Precision Grading, and Schneider Excavating, with the low bid coming in at $29,613.50 from Litzau Excavating. And from there, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Eckstein.
Thanks, Neil. Mr. Mayor, members of the council. As Neil mentioned, we did receive 3 bids for the wetland restoration project. We're coming tonight a little bit after the bids were received, given that we had to go through the conservation easement process. That's now behind us, so the paperwork has been completed on the conservation easement. We can move forward with the award of the contract. So the proposed project includes all materials, labor necessary to complete the wetland restoration project up near Pheasant Run or Harvest Circle. The low bid was submitted by Litzau Excavating of $29,613.50. Evaluation of the bids was competitive. This project is fully funded by McLeod County through the Clean Water Act funds and in conjunction with the ARPA American Rescue Plan Act funds. So those funds are covering the entire amount of the contract. Litzau Excavating has successfully completed projects of this type in the past, and we are recommending the award to them in the amount of $29,613.50. And in addition, authorize the city administrator to execute a contract with McLeod County Soil and Water District to receive $23,066.50 of Clean Water Act funds to put towards the project. Those funds, just kind of a side note, they're reimbursable, so the city will have to pay the contractor first, then we apply for reimbursement through the county. So and we'll do that as part of the project. As far as the schedule goes, I don't have a lot to report right now. I will get back with, probably this week if the project is awarded. I'm assuming it'll be sometime in the August timeframe when they'll get out to do that work. They do have through the end of the construction season, so in, maybe October 1st timeframe to complete the work. And I would assume it'll be a 3 to 4 week process once they get started.
Council have any questions for Josh?
I think we talked about this last time. All the homeowners in the area were informed of what's happening, and
Yep, they were initially met with out on site, a while back, and then informed that the project was moving forward. I do have one callback to make. A gentleman that's looking for a timeline and been holding off a little bit until we get through this process, and then I can get back to that person.
okay, thank you.
There's no further questions. Looking for a motion?
Motion to award the contract in the amount of $29,613.50 to Litzau Excavating Incorporated for the materials and labor necessary to complete the wetland restoration project in the Sunrise Estates neighborhood in the city of Winsted, and authorize the city administrator to execute a contract with McLeod County Soil and Water District to receive $23,066.50 of Clean Water Act funds.
We have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Next item, downtown lighting project. Neil?
So we started to review some of the downtown lights at our last workshop meeting and came over several different options. We ended up receiving a quote from Milliburn Manufacturing for $2,300 a pole for the type of pole that we wanted to. After checking on the state contracts, found out that is a pretty good deal, a really good deal. Brought it forward to you guys, and we have made a little bit of discussion on how we should proceed forward, knowing that there is a lead time of 16 to 17 weeks on the poles. We would be looking to purchase the poles now, and then moving forward with the rest of the project, with the total cost here in the near future to finalize the rest at a separate meeting.
It's my understanding the city is working with Milliburn Manufacturing for the poles, and from some research the mayor has done, they are the thriftiest company to go with.
Yes, not only, besides being the state bid award one, I can't think of what that one's called, but the state contract, they were well under the competition on this one.
Okay. Well, it would be nice to keep it local.
Absolutely.
So you're looking for what tonight, Neil, from the council?
We are looking for approval to purchase the poles to start with, and then an approval for the rest of the project not to exceed, I believe, $281,000.
That be all one motion or two?
Two motions.
Motions, please.
I'd make if it's all right,
Go ahead.
I'd make a motion to approve a quote from Milliburn Manufacturing for 33 light poles at a cost of $2,300 each, for a total amount not to exceed $75,900.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item.
I'll make a motion to approve a total downtown lighting repair project cost not to exceed $281,000, to include future city council approval of quotes for light fixtures, electrical labor to install the lights, and boring work that includes wire and wiring of poles.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I would just one comment to the chief. I would assume having lighting poles downtown that work will help with your job? Okay.
Okay, with that, we'll move on to the Public Works Department report tonight. Thanks, Josh. Geez, you get up and everybody leaves.
Yeah, right. Mr. Mayor, Council, the past 6 months, the Public Works, we started off January. We had a long January, long winter plowing snow, hauling snow. Guys, everybody that came in, the part-time help did an excellent job. We got everything done fairly quick and safely. During that time, we also took the Christmas banners down. We had a water main break on Andy Avenue and 2nd Street North in January. We got the quotes for tree trimming, and that's been done. We got quotes for sewer cleaning, jetting the main lines. That has been done for this year. We installed 3 AEDs with the help of the police department. We did one at the city hall, one at the library, and one at the airport. There's AEDs inside those buildings. Opened up the parks. We turned all the water on, got the bathrooms ready up in Barrett Park for now. We've been putting flags up, taking banners, taking flags down for various events. And we had another water main break on Main Avenue East and First Street North by the corner bar. That one was a little tricky. We had the guys come out and locate it, and where they pinpoint it, they were off about 10, 12 feet. So they had to come back, relocate it again, found another water line that wasn't on any of our maps going to that fire hydrant, and that's the one that had busted. So that was a bigger project. We've been doing monthly inspections at the playground and also at the airport, including a stormwater report for the airport. Did one after snow melt. That came back good. There's no contaminants in the water. Still haven't done one this summer yet, waiting on rain. We spent a lot of hours in the street sweeper after spring cleanup, and then after the last windstorm we had come through, there was a lot of debris down on all the streets. Been spraying the ball fields with weeds, city sidewalks around the buildings. We've been spraying with weeds, trying to keep up on that. We took the fence down along Main Street, a Weinbeck Field. Got that project done and complete. We also graded the city's gravel road sections and put dust control on them. We just recently removed the old playground slides at Southview, Northgate, and Hamlin Park. Got those removed and got them seeded in with grass seed.
Yeah.
We did the manhole relining project that we had done. Some manholes that we were having issues with water infiltration. There were 2 up by Tetra Pak that we did, and one was behind the address of 431 First Street South in the alley in a low spot. We got that sealed up. Hopefully that helps with the water infiltration. We put recently also we just put replay down, which is a kind of seal coat to protect the pavement, the asphalt. That was just done in Winston on the Lake Development and Pheasant Run. That will, what we're told, buy us another 7 years before that has to be touched again. That'll improve the life of the asphalt. And we also did the Kingsley Street Trail. We got that sealed up, so that trail should be in good shape. Got the fountain installed in the lake. I know I was in contact with them. Those guys, between the repairs that we had from last year to be done, and they're severely short-staffed, they said. That was the delay, why it took so long to get in. But that seems to be working great. We ordered fuel for the airport. Kind of a big project. We ordered 4,000 gallons from, I forget their name now, they're out of Litchfield. Dooley's.
Yep.
Thank you. Out of Dooley's, we ordered 4,000 gallons, and there is another 4,000 gallons that'll be delivered at a later date at the same price. Not that it goes up. We've also been installing water meters now as they fail. We've got quite our big project list that we had from last year. We got all those done, and now it's as they fail, we're installing them. I think our current inventory we have, I know there's over 100 that we have left out of the original order. We're doing all right on those. And then just last week, we received our new Kubota UTV that we had ordered, so we're making use of that. It's come in handy running around the garbages and in the parks, and that's kind of what we've been up to the last 6 months.
That's all.
Yeah. There's a few more things, but those are the highlights.
If there was anything on your list that hasn't been done that you would like to get done, what would that be?
One thing that needs to get done, we need to work on more of our sidewalk removal.
That's the right answer.
I would have thought you would have mentioned something about getting T-shirts for the crew, but whatever. Hey, I do have a question. The intersection of Bryan's Service Station, so where that's at, I don't know the street numbers, I'm sorry, but so the southwest corner has a storm sewer that's completely blocked.
Okay.
Well, are you aware of that, or?
I was after that email got sent out. I think you asked the question.
I did a while back, and is it broken?
It is broken. It's been broken from my understanding for years.
Okay.
That's one that will be on our project list to do an upcoming repairs.
Okay.
I don't know why it wasn't addressed.
I mentioned earlier about noticing poles now that I just walked by there one night and happened to notice it was completely full, and it's like, so anyhow, thanks.
I have a couple of questions for you. Manhole covers. There's tar busting around those manhole covers, and they're probably about this deep.
Okay.
Have you been checking those? Have you had any complaints where people have run in
I've
over
had no
those?
complaints. I've seen, I know there's one I saw in Kingsley that I'll have to get some cold patch put around it. Unless you saw more.
I know you told me not to bike around town, but I'm still doing it.
How about on Baker, where they're going to be rerouting County Road 1 traffic? I noticed it's pretty busted out around SJNF. Does the county have any plans to patch that in before it gets?
I don't know if the county's coming through to repair that.
That would be
road or
county
not.
road.
That would be county
Yeah,
road.
that's county road, and it's gonna get tore up pretty bad.
Neil's meeting with the new county public works supervisor, manager, tomorrow. So he's writing it down to contact and see if they can fill those before all that traffic gets there. Aren't you, Neil?
I am. You are correct.
There's lots of exciting things going on Baker Avenue. An excavator parked next to the elevator, and
My other question, airport inspection.
Yes.
What type of airport inspecting are you doing?
Walking around the grounds, making sure there's no debris, garbage, general.
The reason I ask is because the FAA's been after the city for years to do safety inspections in all the hangars, which is going to be coming up sometime soon. Jeff and I are going to talk about that. And we'll get it in front of the airport commissioners. That might be a reason the FAA is kind of uncooperative with us, but it's pretty concise. I think you're going to be part of that. I don't know who else. You don't know anything about it, but you will.
Assuming I'll be part of it.
Yeah. It's something that we put off, and we put it off purposely, but I won't go into it right now is why we waited. Probably put the pieces together, but anyway, it has to be done some point in time. And
Is that a structural inspection or usage inspection?
basically safety and to make sure that each hangar has a plane in it.
Okay. Because that's the rule, right? It's
Yes,
supposed
it's
to.
the rule.
Okay. I learned something in his interview for the fire department. Do you know why manhole covers are round?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you?
So I don't look stupid, I'll say yes.
The hole's round.
Right, so they don't, because I'm assuming a square, the lid could fall through, right? I will say this, Chris knew the answer. He was like lickety-split with the answer, so I was impressed. I never knew that.
There were two projects, Chris, that I'd like you to look at. One is the basketball courts where the cracks are, there's grass growing up.
Yes,
Maybe we could put some weed killer in there?
yes. We did first round, and he clearly missed a few spots.
Okay,
But he was out today. We were out spraying again.
oh, okay.
It will be.
And then the other is, I don't know how much work it would be to trim shrubs along the promenade on the lakeside.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
No.
Um,
Shrubs going on the lake bank?
It's the trees.
The
Tom.
trees and stuff, the bushes and trees that are growing
Oh, okay.
up on the lake bank they don't look good.
We've done it, I think it was about 3 years ago.
3 years ago, yeah, Steve.
It's the little ones that nobody's pulling the roots out and are just
You
continuing.
growing?
Talk to the boys, they'll be your best friends on this.
Yeah, they'll be excited.
Yep. Anything else for Chris?
How long you been here now?
It's 2 years in December.
Thanks for all you do.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We come to the open forum part of the meeting. Anybody wants to address the council can step up and tell us your name. We give 5 minutes for each discussion and issue, and we also will not act on anything that's brought before the council. We will have to research it and talk about it, and then get back to the person. So, state your name and address, and you got 5 minutes.
5 minutes for each, or 5 minutes?
5 minutes.
Angela Stovner, 685 6th Street, North Lot 15, Winstead. Okay, so just quick, I'm going to talk about the water issue. Mostly, just before I get to that, I'll get back to you about the park and the kind of idea is a chicken co-op, but also kind of permaculture style with some gardening and putting in a swale for some rainwater. We're not getting enough rain. Okay, so I'll talk to Neil about that. Thank you. The other thing is the water and the RF radiation is too high. It's been too high since before 5G. There is a doctor who even said not to roll that out, but I don't remember his name right now. I can look it up later. There's other means to raise money for the town, and I could help with that, possibly. I wouldn't mind. What happens, there's been tests, but a lot of the tests they do for 6 to 8 minutes, and they're on the phone. So when you imagine what I'm going to say after just from a phone, maybe that'll help you think about it a little bit more also. Also, it's good to know that the leading people that do tests are not in this country. It would be China, Russia, and India. The telecommunications and the vax people, they all have immunity, so they don't have to do any tests in this country for these issues. So they pretty much don't anymore. And you really have to look and research, and because they shadow ban and deplatform and things like that. But so the RF, the radiation, what it does, bottom line, is it lowers the blood-brain barrier, and it lets things like mercury, chlorine, other pollutants, let's say, which leads to neurological issues and lots of bacterial issues. For example, my mom had one of the COVID shots, and bacteria Okay, she had an episode at the park. We just moved to town. I know the water's apparently has at least nine toxins that are above the EPA level standard. So I'm glad to hear there's going to be.
Where are you getting the information that has the 9 toxins?
I saw that. Well, last time I came in for the meeting, I saw the sign up. I need to take a picture of it today so I can look those ones up. But I did see a sign, and then somebody told me there was over 9.
But where are they getting their information?
Well, the sign, I haven't looked into that. I have looked into what
What
frequency
sign?
that was it's posted upstairs. It was last time I came in. I'll have to go take a picture of it, talking about the
There's
chemical
a consumer
sign.
confidence report that's required annually to be published, and so that's hanging on the board.
So we
Also,
have,
you can
She's
look it up on the
referring to
EU.
is
the engineering company that the city contracts with, they
Okay.
test the water and send it into the state monthly.
Right, Public Works works
Yeah.
with that, Chris. Public Works with Minnesota Valley Testing Association, I think that's MVTL, and those results are sent to the state, and the consumer confidence report is published annually based on those results.
Yeah, and
You
if we
can see the
exceeded
results.
any of the state
There's,
standards, they'd be telling us that
Right.
we have to correct it.
The trailer court used to have its own well. Is that still the case or no?
No,
Okay.
Okay.
but you're saying the city is sending out water that has 9 toxins that are over the EPA limit?
From my understanding, yes. And I looked up today, there's a link you can look up on the EU, and it'll tell you by city. So I actually moved her to a better city because Edina's way worse. But there's still, it says 9. Would you like me to pull it up real quick?
No.
I have.
Well, it just doesn't make sense to me, because if the city were doing that, we'd be liable for a lawsuit for poisoning people, basically.
Well, we wouldn't be meeting state standards,
Yeah.
right.
so, and we are. The state tells us we're meeting all the standards for any toxins that are in our water. Water for every city has toxins, just the levels have to be below what the state recommends.
Okay, so, and like I said, I do have to take a picture of that
Right.
and look it up, because I already know there's already quite a number of other things in the water, but.
What makes you think that the antennas are doing it? What?
I'm not saying they're doing it, I'm saying how it works. Like, for example, there's already toxins, just go with me here. Say there's already the toxins in the water.
Mhm.
And then the radio, the antennas are up there, and water holds frequency like your human body does. So it affects your body, so it breaks you down. It makes you sick because of the radiation. Once it breaks your blood barrier down, then there's nothing to keep you. It gets into your gut and your brain, and makes you sick. You can get many issues neurologically, which is like example my mom just went through. And there's a lot of bacterial issues. I'm hearing a lot of people having bacterial issues.
But my question is, what makes you think the antennas have anything to do with that?
Specifically, the antennas don't have to do. I'm saying.
Well,
that's
how-
together.
I mean, you brought that up 2 weeks ago and then again tonight. You seem to indicate
I'm just trying to put them together, like the towers not doing a great thing with the water, and then on top of that, you're drinking the water, and if you already have a bunch of toxins built up in your body, it'll make you more sick if you can't afford to keep up with the RO machines and things, for example. Not everybody can. Not everybody has well water, and
Well, all we can go by is that we are meeting the standards for water consumption that the state of Minnesota recommends. And we send in samples every month, and if those samples exceeded any of those chemical levels, they would inform us, and we would have to either stop or treat it.
I hope they would inform.
Yeah, and they
My
do.
concern.
Yeah, and they do.
Honestly, too. And I don't.
Yeah, every city in Minnesota has to do that.
Okay. I'll do some further digging and
So our consumer confidence report, I have it pulled up right now, it's on the website. There are no violations listed for the 9 products that you said. That's what they test. So every item says no violation.
So they test for 9 different toxins.
Right.
And then also think about the tests that are not done for the radiation and the effects of drinking that water. And maybe think about testing that's done in China, India, and other places, and why aren't testing
Okay, we're gonna
here so much.
have to end it there because
Okay.
we've got some more to do.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. The next item is city administrator announcements and updates.
Yeah, I just have a couple here. I met with Dan Erke from the McLeod County Co-op, and he dropped off the bonding check that we had for the $200,000 bond for Seesaw 5. I had contacted the businesses there, letting them know that this year it will not affect their entrances or exits for the rest of the time period here. So Ram and Milliburn were notified of that. And looking into, after that road is done, figuring out some kind of lot structure a little bit more here, and talking with Josh and figuring out some possible people to maybe that will move in there. I did also tour with McLeod County Soil and Water, and so I was a little more versed on the wetland project and all of the projects around, and they seem very excited to partner with us. I will most likely be joining them and taking the spot of where Mr. Schulenberg was on for their projects. And I believe that I will be doing that now. Trying to soak in as much as possible. Not water, but you know what I mean. Knowledge.
Have any more?
No, that's about it.
Tom, do you have anything?
I do not.
Jeff?
I do not.
Jesse? Steve?
Nope.
I did find out something about the possibility of the recycle bins from the county. They're pulling them all out of all the other spots in the county.
Yeah, I heard
The
that.
reason they're doing it is they've had a lot of contamination at those dump sites. So they'd be putting glass or appliances and stuff where they shouldn't. So they're pulling them back, and they're going to do a little moratorium on them, and then come back with a different configuration if they come back at all,
And that's countywide.
countywide. It would be the site, I think Lester had one a couple of years ago. But they named it, there's about 5 or 6 of them.
Okay.
They're pulling them all back. So what difference does it make to us? Well, it does make a difference because we're allowing for some of those same bins to be after County Road goes in, to be out by our brush site. So I don't know what that's going to look like. I was privileged to attend a couple meetings early on, and they talked about possible taping on cameras out there. But like I said, they pulled it back, and they will be discussing it, and they'll probably be sometime next year before they decide what they're going to do.
My question is, when we put the new brush site out there, is that gonna be like it is now, where it's manned and just open 2 days a week?
I would assume so.
Could we then put the recycling stuff inside that area and just have it? Okay, it's only gonna be open 2 days a week during this time,
That would
so that there'd be somebody there?
that'd be up to the county.
Okay.
Yeah, at one point in time, they talked about the potential of possibly paying for somebody to be out there. So if they do that, I mean, we'll have to wait and see if they
Yeah.
can bring them back, but yeah, that's a county issue. I mean,
Okay.
we just had, they were looking for property,
Yeah.
and we had none, and they were out to trot, and now they're pulling them back because people just aren't following the instructions. Yep. That's all I have. Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.